What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy pal Hey Archer. Welcome back to Nerd Affiliated. We have this is a wild theory, but I think it's literally playing out in front of us. I think Hasbro is leaving the action figure game, and I have proof. Intro. Welcome back, nerds. This is wild. This is wild. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget, hit the like, hit subscribe, comment down below, comment in real time as you're watching this video. I want to see your thoughts play out. We follow all sorts of nerd news here on the channel, but because of the writer strike and the actor strike, we ended up doing a lot more toy type news here on the channel. And as you can see behind me, I am a toy collector. But this story, the story of Hasbro, has been quite an interesting one over the past year. And I mean, in the toy industry as a whole, over the last 3 years, it has been a wild ride. But I think this is the beginning of the end of Hasbro as we know it, not as a company. Right. This isn't one of those Fandom Menace videos where I'm like, Disney is down. Disney's going to be destroyed. Hasbro's not going anywhere. However, Hasbro as an action figure manufacturer, I believe is going to start to phase out. Here's why. So this month has been amazing as far as the build up to the latest HasLab from Hasbro. 2 in the box, a Ghostbusters HasLab. Wild ride, great content from Hasbro on this one, giving fans what they wanted, giving it at a decent price. I wish it was lower. We always wish it could be lower, but at a really decent price. And a lot of people not complaining about this at all. So this kind of like reinvigorated a lot of us as far as like being excited for crowdfunds. At the same time, off to the side, Super 7 was doing their own crowdfund. They were doing the Cobra Mothership, which did not end up backing. Both projects announced at the same time, closing on the same day. The HasLab just destroyed it, absolutely destroyed it. So we were all feeling good about Hasbro. The community, the toy collectors, whether Ghostbusters or not, were feeling pretty good. Like, hey, they are getting some things right. The last couple HasLab projects have backed. Maybe Hasbro's onto something. But then on the same day the HasLab is ending, we get word that Hasbro is not only going to close their Providence office. For the record, they have 2, as far as I understand, 2 offices in the state of Rhode Island, but in downtown Providence. They're not only going to close that office, but they're laying off 1,100 people over the next year. So this comes via the Providence Journal down in Rhode Island. The international toy company Hasbro is vacating its Providence office, cutting its staff by 1,100 people, according to the memorandum sent to the staff on Monday. CEO Chris Cox made the announcement, noting that layoffs were especially difficult during the holiday season. As somebody who's been let go 2 times during the holiday season, it's never difficult for them. It is never difficult for them. This layoff is in addition to 800 job cuts this past January. Many of those losing their jobs will be notified within the next 24 hours, while a majority of the layoffs will happen over the next 6 months. More cuts will be happening over the next year, with a special focus to minimize management layers and create a nimble organization. So this isn't anything new as far as the larger landscape of America goes. A lot of companies now are trimming the fat when it comes to getting rid of people they hired maybe during COVID, maybe in the year following COVID, 2021, 2022. So this isn't that new. But I think it's an L in a sense to announce this at the same time you have like a win happening. Like, are you hoping one overshadows the other and you're hoping that the positive overshadows the negative? I'm not sure. But the big thing here is who's going to be involved in those layoffs. Right now, we've seen Dan Yun and Mr. Steve, both members of the Marvel side, post online that they're hoping for the best. Steve's message online seemed more like he got told he's losing his, but we're not sure. Nothing's confirmed as of the recording of this video. So we're not sure what departments, how many people from each department, none of that. I believe somebody was saying it might have been Mega J Retro. It was like 1 in 5 people is what it looks like. So we'll see. We will see. But a while back, we were talking about the relationship between Hasbro and Super 7. Now, very weird that they both have a crowdfund project happening at the same time. They're not sure why they didn't know the other one was doing one and why neither one backed down on launching it. Like, it didn't really make any sense. But Super 7 started to appear on the Hasbro site. And it's happened before, but we really took note of it in the latest Power Ranger launch. I just noticed the G.I. Joe reaction figure here. Didn't realize you can get an entire wave. I didn't even catch this before. You can buy an entire wave off of Hasbro right now. Interesting. So Super 7 is starting to pop up on the Hasbro site. And I've been trying to wrap my head around why would you have your competitor selling through your marketplace? Like, that doesn't quite make a lot of sense. Unless the deal is I own the license to this company. So in these two examples, I own the license to Power Rangers and G.I. Joe. I'm going to sell you the license, right? You make the figures, and then either you take the profit from there or we split some of the profits. But now you have some popular brands you can make toys from, Mr. Toy Company, in this case, Super 7, and then we both eat. And on the Hasbro side, they can then back off on their R&D. They can back off on their manufacturing because now Super 7 can do it. So that was like my thought. That was in my brain, that was the only way this deal could make sense. Then enter, literally 30 minutes ago, I think, by the time I'm recording this video, Todd McFarlane, the day after the HasLab backs, layoffs are announced, Todd McFarlane drops breaking news. McFarlane Toys expands Page Puncher brand and signs multi-brand licensing agreement with Hasbro. What? Again, a competitor, a direct competitor. So heading over to the McFarlane site, this was published this morning, December 12th. McFarlane Toys has announced an exciting multi-brand licensing agreement with leading toy and game company Hasbro, adding Transformers, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, and Dungeons & Dragons to their Page Puncher lineup. Kicking off with Transformers and G.I. Joe products, each Page Puncher will include a full comic book and 2 articulated figures. Now, if you don't know what Page Punchers are, here's an example right here on Amazon. You get a comic book, you get 2 figures, kind of in that 3-inch scale size. That's like kind of what you're dealing with here. So what's crazy about this is Super 7 already makes a competitor to the Page Punchers. They make a 3-inch scale figure. Here we're looking at some Parks and Recs figures. They come on card back and have the same articulation as their competitor, McFarlane. So they're literally signing away licenses or loaning the licenses out so that these other companies can now make the action figures for them. Going back to their stock price, going back to Hasbro news as a whole, right now Hasbro is down. They are down. Even on the heels of this announcement of the layoffs, they are down. Stock price is not usually affected by like the HasLabs or, you know, the McFarlane deal. Stuff like that won't move the price. Like the normal portfolio manager isn't looking at that kind of stuff. But they're looking at, are you trying to adjust your profits and your loss? So right now, Hasbro is down. Right now, one of the news stories in the recent months that caused them to go down was when Hasbro Mattel announced that they're expecting this holiday season to be rough. They're expecting it to be down as far as the toy spending. You can see they are at new lows over the last year. If we go out to a 5-year, again, there was a downplay here when everybody was down during COVID, but we're back down to that at this current point in time. Now, Hasbro had recently done a earnings call. They did this earnings call back on October 26th, the same day that they made that announcement about the low forecast going into this holiday season. Hasbro was down on a lot of things, but where they were not down was their non-physical products. Third quarter highlights. This is the Hasbro PowerPoint presentation. Third quarter highlights. 40% revenue growth in Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming segment behind strong launch Baldur's Gate 3. Game of the year. Game of the year. Franchise brands grew 8% behind growth in Magic the Gathering, Dungeons & Dragons, Hasbro Gaming, and Transformers. Transformers actually did very well last year. Now, skipping down, 2023 guidance updated to reflect impact of toy category declines. They also ended up selling off E1 Films, so the film and TV side of their company, which I didn't know they owned. So like making a Power Rangers show, for example, yes, they own Power Rangers, but they also owned that production company. So now that's going to be its own thing. But they're seeing all the growth in non-physical. You don't have to make anything physically. You don't have to ship anything. You don't have to put it in stores. You literally just sell it online. And the one physical aspect that you are selling are trading cards, which super cheap to make, ship them all over the place, done and done. Way different than shipping a physical toy. So piecing all of this together, the fact that they themselves see the earning potential of physical things is down, but let's start making these partnerships with these other manufacturers, plus the layoffs, I think Hasbro is going to start to scale down their in-house production, with the exception of the higher scaled collectibles. That's where I think we're going to see Hasbro start to really focus. You can take a concept, put it together, see if the greater audience wants it, set a price point so that if it hits its target, we make our money back. Hopefully we oversell it. But we tell them, all right, you guys, we think you might want a his tank. $300. All you need is 8,000 of you to hit it. All of a sudden, 3 times that end up backing it. You make all that money. We're shipping them to them individually. We're not shipping to Target, to Walmart. We're not worried about how many does Target and Walmart want to buy. We know exactly how many to make, plus or minus, for a margin of error and returns. This, mark my words, in the next 2 years, this is going to be Hasbro as we know it. When it comes to stuff that we collect. Everything else is going to be pushed over to these other companies. McFarlane making the physical toys. Super 7 making the physical toys. However, this is the tricky part. They just got to make it. Those smaller companies, Super 7, McFarlane, they just got to make it. If they can keep making their money, keep making dope figures, price them at a point that we want to buy them, we will stay, and Hasbro will keep making their money, but Hasbro won't have to worry about all the losses that come into actually making everything. So I think this is it. I think this is honestly a smart move. I think it's a smart move if we're talking business. Now, it sucks overall for everybody involved. It sucks for all the sculptors, the advertising people, the people who work on all these projects. Again, the Dan Yuns of the world, Mr. Steve, the other guy, Ray, I'm forgetting his Instagram, but all these people that we've grown to love in following them on social media, it sucks for all of them. But from a Hasbro perspective, all they care about is the bottom dollar. And I think they're going to use these other companies that really love what they do to make it for them versus them making it themselves. But let me know down below what you think. Am I crazy? Am I conspiracy talking here? Or does this kind of start to make sense? Let me know in the comments. Haircha Live every Thursday, 8:15-ish p.m. here on Nerd Affiliated. But every Monday morning, we have Nerdy Coffee here at 9 a.m. Eastern. 2 different shows, 2 different vibes. Either way, you're stuck with this guy. Like, comment, subscribe. Join our channel memberships over at nerdaffiliated.com. And I'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. I'm out of here.